Radical.
Welcome to Flea Market Stories, documenting one man's journey into the world of flea marketing. Now, this is for last weekend Sunday. Three notable things happened this day. The first thing is the fact that I was a little late, actually probably quite late. I got really set up by 9, and I got there at about 15 till 9. And one downside of getting there at 15 till 9 is maybe people assume that no one's going to be there at the table. So there was a car parked in my spot, not all the way in the spot, but halfway over on my spot. So I parked behind the vehicle. I got out, and I actually noticed that I knew some of these people. They were regulars at the table there. So I, kindly said, I'm setting up here in a second. You're in my spot. And I didn't mean it to come out like I was going to the office to talk about it. Well, maybe it actually, made them move quicker. But I said, I have to go to the office anyway to, talk to them about something. So I left for about maybe 3-4 minutes. Just kind of made a circle around the place, came back, and it was no longer there. Now, turns out these people at that table are, some friends, some buddies now. I talked to them quite a bit. So it's just kind of weird how maybe, sometimes something like that turns into actually something positive. Meaning I think they, feel bad about being in my spot. Right, okay. So the second thing was there's a guy I'll talk about more in the future to the right of me that had a radio. He had a really dirty looking Sony Explode, and he asked me if I knew a lot about that stuff. And first off, I took some water from my water bottle, and I took a paper towel, and I said, well, here's the first thing I'll do. I dabbed a little bit of water. I know some of you are like, oh, Rick, you're putting water on electronics. I'm like, no. Just like a little bit of water is not going to hurt something like the front of a radio that's very, very dirty. So the first thing I said, okay, here's what you want to do. You want to get like a lot of this dirt off the front of the radio. Because like I said, with the PlayStation 3 controller, this other guy presented to me, dirt's going to kill your sales. And there's nothing I could do about how the metal looks around, scratches and dings in the metal around the corner. But I got it looking a little better for him. And then he said, well, hold on to that. I'm not sure if it works or not, and I have nothing to test it in, so if there's a way you could test it and see if it works. So I said, you sure? Okay, well, tell you what, I'll take it home, I'll test it. And then he said, whatever I make, I'll give you some of the money. And I was like, well, that's fair. Okay, that's fair. That's the second notable thing. Well, maybe there's 4 notable things. Because he had a 2004 Honda Accord. And I was asking him, like, I'm kind of looking for a dedicated vehicle for flea marketing because I don't want to, have my Impala going through the paces. And he said something along the lines of, like, well, I mean, I would possibly sell this for $2,500 if I was selling it. And I said, Honda Accord? What year is that? 2004. And it wasn't in that bad of a condition. Seemed to be fully loaded, had a leather interior, So it was a nicer Honda Accord. Plus, it was a Honda Accord, $2,500. He told me these are regularly going for twice that, double that right now. And that doesn't surprise me, because I went by this one car lot and they wanted, I think, $6,000 for a 2006 Civic. And a Civic ain't no Accord, I'll tell you that. So, yeah, I might, I don't know if I'll be getting that. But if I'm looking for a dedicated flea marketing vehicle, I don't know if that fits the bill. I would more or less want something in a hatchback. Maybe like a Honda hatchback with some space. Something like that. But yeah, Honda, Toyota, always great picks, always great picks. Now, the third notable thing was comic books. I showed you all that I picked up Donald Duck and Archie. Well, let's go into that a little bit. Okay. I had a good bit of comics set out, and there was a table to the left, and you could see a lot of comics. So there were 2 different people that came by asking me about comics. One person was an older gentleman, and he had a stack of comics. And I think I talked about this before. He had a Mickey Mouse that was ripped on the cover. I did not buy. But out of that stack, I got the Donald Duck and the Archie. Now, there's another guy that regularly comes by and talks about comics with me. You might have heard him from the Star Wars conversation, okay? Well, apparently, like, we're buddies now because he came, like, behind the table to look at the rest of the comics I had, which I guess was okay because I had some out on display and I had some I was pricing. So I looked through them. He didn't seem interested in much of them. But there was another guy after, he saw, I guess, I bought 2 comics from the other guy. He had a question for me. I don't think he brought any comics over. But he looked around my comics and he says, well, I need some help. I don't know what my comics are worth. So I guess I become a professional now because he sees like a lot of comics on my table. And I say, well, I'm kind of busy right now because, I don't want to miss any sales and whatnot. But towards the end of the day, I will come over and look at your comic books. And the whole time, this other guy's, back and actually, talking to me about comics and everything. So it's almost like for a second, I become like a comic store or a comics professional, right? Which I'm not. I know a little bit about comics and whatnot, but I'm not really a pro. Towards the end of the day, I go over there, I look through his box, and he has some pretty nice stuff. He's got some X-Men, some Spider-Man, some Batman, some Avengers. He's got some pretty nice stuff. And I think for a second about maybe making him an offer and buying this stuff, but then I think, well, I got my own comics over here I need to sell, and I don't want to really put a whole lot more money into buying things. I'm more or less in selling mode. But there's one book that gets my attention. I pull it out, and it's a Turek #1 by Valiant. Now, a lot of you might know Turek because of Turek the Dinosaur Hunter. Same thing. This is Turek the Dinosaur Hunter. And this cover, I will see if I can flash an image of this cover. This is one of the nicest looking comic covers I have ever seen. In the middle, it looks like a chromium card. And you see Turek, pulling his bow back and everything. You got to see this thing. You got to see this thing up close. It is a beautiful cover. Absolutely stunning cover. And what's interesting about this Turek that he has priced at $15 is it was actually signed by the creators of the comic and actually has a certificate in there designating that, it is legit and it is signed. Now, I'm not sure how many of these Turek #1s exist out there. Might be a situation where this thing is worth several times more. Again, because, a lot of people are into the video games. But I don't know if, this is not like a Mario or Zelda comic book. I mean, Turek is a well-known Nintendo 64 game, but I don't know if there's, a lot of people that would be going crazy to get it because of the video game connection. But I told him of what's in this box right here. This Turek. This one might be special because it is a #1 and it is signed, and Turek probably didn't have a huge print run, not like Marvel or DC. So I haven't seen that guy since, but I don't know. If I start selling my comics and making some good bit of money from my comics specifically, I'm going to always have a small comic box. So if he's still around, I might make him an offer on that Turek. At least $10, maybe 12. But leave it in the comment section down below. What do you think that Turek #1 that I described is probably worth?